The S&P advanced 32. More at townhall.com.
This is Dennis Prager for AmFed Coin and Bullion. There's something about the feel of a gold coin in your hand and the way the light reflects off its intricate details that has always captivated me. Nick Grovich, AmFed's owner, turned that same passion into his livelihood. Nick began collecting coins as a teen, and that interest grew into a nationally respected business offering only the finest quality coins at the most competitive prices. But the truth is that although Nick is a rare coin dealer, he doesn't believe in rare coins. Rare coins do not make sound investments, but they do make dealers a lot of money. See, that's part of what I respect about him. AmFed specializes in buying non-performing numismatic coins and turning them into gold or silver investments that provide liquidity and perform competitively against the market. Whether you're buying or selling, call 800-221-7694. That's 800-221-7694. AmericanFederal.com.
Here's the Wall Street Business Report.
The operator of roughly 180 Eddie Bauer stores across the U.S. and Canada has again filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection, blaming declining sales and a litany of other industry headwinds.
Eddie Bauer LLC says it's entered into a restructuring pact with its secured lenders as it made the filing in U.S. bankruptcy court for the District of New Jersey. Rich Thomason reporting.
Kroger has named former Walmart executive Greg Foran as its chief executive officer. He joins Kroger 11 months after its previous CEO, Rodney McMullen, abruptly resigned following an internal investigation into his personal conduct. Foran previously led Walmart's U.S. division for 6 years before departing in 2019. U.S. stocks drifted higher following big rallies for markets in Asia earlier in the day. The Dow was up by 20 points. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bob Agnew.
News and analysis at townhall.com.
On Point Weather, brought to you by our friends at Palmetto State Armory.
On 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clear and chilly this evening, a low temperature tipping down to 35. Tomorrow, it's a taste of spring. Sunshine-filled skies, a high temperature all the way up to 72 degrees. Wednesday, we have a 30% chance we get some showers, and we're cooler for the upcoming weekend. Rain expected both Saturday and Sunday. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
This is The Point. Make thepointradio.com.
Come on, press that button. Yo.
This is Sports Talk with Phil Kornblut and Chris Bergen. Sports Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on SportsTalkSC.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil and Chris with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
All right, here we go. It's another week of Sports Talk. Let's welcome baseball back. Welcome back, baseball. We missed you. D1 teams get underway starting on Friday, so we're looking forward to that. How far will the Tigers go? That's our poll question of the week. Get into that in just a moment. How many wins for Clemson this year? Well, Coastal Carolina, with that pitching, are they a cinch to get back to Omaha? What about South Carolina? Do they bounce back in year two under Paul Mainieri? All of that will be starting to be told beginning on Friday. Those stories will be told beginning on Friday as the season begins for the D1 teams, a couple of weeks behind the other teams in the country, D2 and junior college and D3 and NAIA. So we look forward to that. The Super Bowl was, it was kind of a super dud, I think you could safely say. And Chris Bergen,
disagree,
joining us from the Bergie Palace. You don't think it was a super dud?
No. I thought it was one of the more impressive efforts I've ever seen in a Super Bowl.
Well, no, I'm talking
about. The problem
about
is the majority of us are all about offense. But if you want to see how to play defense, we saw it last night.
I don't know. Maybe it was my perception. I didn't think – defense, I give total credit to defense. I love good defense, and I thought going in that Seattle's defense would be too good. That's why I picked Seattle. and they proved to be just that, just dominating, hard hitting, roughing up the quarterback, et cetera, et cetera. But for the most part, except for a few runs, it was a game devoid of exciting plays, major plays.
Sure.
There was the one long throw that New England hit, late. And again, there were a couple of runs, 2 or 3 runs that Seattle had, but it was a grinded out, spit in your face kind of game.
Mm-hmm.
But beside that, I don't know, it just seemed to me that there wasn't, I don't know how many fans at the game were actually watching the game and paying attention to the game. To me, the Super Bowl sort of become the Kentucky Derby. Like, we become horse racing fans on that day. And of the 160,000 people at Churchill Downs, how many are actually watching the horses, or how many are there just partying and having a good time, and they're leaving as soon as it's over? And so I did not hear the roars. I did not hear the crowd noise at a championship level football game that you would ordinarily hear. And I'm just wondering how many of those fans in Santa Clara were actually just neutral or non-interested fans who were there for a party versus how many were actually there rooting for the team. Now, I get it. It's a neutral site, and tickets are limited for the 2 participating teams. And I know the 12, what they call the Seattle fans, the 12, they showed up as best they could. I don't know how many Patriots fans were out there. But I just didn't hear – after there was a big play, maybe it was because it was a defensive dominated game and it just muted everything. But maybe it's time. This will never happen. But there's nothing more exciting than the NFL playoffs as you go through the stages and you're playing in front of home fans and you're playing in all kinds of different weather, and that's what makes it exciting. That's what makes it exciting in the fourth quarter when the home team's trying to rally and the stadium is shaking. You don't get that in a Super Bowl because so many people are disinterested in the game. They're just there to get drunk, take their drugs, fly in on their planes, hook up with some stud puppy, and go home. They don't care about – they don't care about the game. So I don't know. Am I wrong? I had my sound turned way up, and I don't need hearing aids. I just didn't hear the crescendo that you get in a championship game when you have some big plays going on.
So you would like the NFL, and your point about the playoffs. Let's face it, this may have been the greatest year of NFL playoffs in terms of the competitive nature of all the games, both in the NFC and AFC, that we may have ever seen. Followed up by, to use your term, a dud of a Super Bowl. Now, I was extremely impressed with what I saw from Seattle, and I don't think you can downplay the job that Kenneth Walker did as well for Seattle, especially in the first half when nothing was going right for either team, just to keep giving them enough of a push that they could get into field goal range. I mean, let's face it, once the third quarter began and New England didn't do anything on their opening possession, I said, this one's over. And they were already down 9-0, and it might as well have been 90-0 the way Seattle's defense is playing. But would you like to see the NFL go to what the NBA and Major League Baseball and the Stanley Cup playoffs are, where you have home ice or home field advantage for the team with the highest seed?
Yes. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
It's time. It's time to do that. It's time to put the game back in a setting that is naturally excited. Imagine playing a Super Bowl on a home field at New England or in Seattle or in Green Bay or in Chicago or in Charlotte. I mean,
well, if the 49ers had taken care of business, they would have had that opportunity.
Yeah, but they still wouldn't have had all the tickets. They still wouldn't have had the 70-something thousand tickets that they could sell as the home team. And, I mean, I think the neutral site argument doesn't carry water anymore because we see almost as many road teams now win in the playoffs as we do home teams. Road teams have been very successful.
Yeah, the Patriots were outstanding this year in road games.
I know it will never happen, but I'm just saying I missed that in last night's game. I'm not talking about on the field there was some good action, and the defenses were outstanding. And, Ernest Jones, who was really good and overlooked at South Carolina, has proven how good he is as a pro. And Eman Worry, of course, has got a brilliant career ahead of him and he just capped it in a fabulous way. So it was good to see a couple of local guys, go get their rings. But,
no doubt. I mean, they combined for 16 tackles between that duo.
Yeah. So it's just my thought coming out of there. I didn't feel the energy that you want to feel in that kind of setting. And you're right. It is. Let me think. Of all the professional sports, it's the only one that settles its championship at a neutral site. Is that correct? NBA goes home and home.
Big four.
Hockey goes home and home. Baseball, home. Yeah. So anyway, that's the thoughts on that. Halftime show, of course, I know that gets under a lot of people's skin. I could care less. I watched it and I listened. Of course, didn't understand anything, but the production was awesome and the camera work was fantastic and looked like they were singing and dancing and having a good time. I don't know what message was coming out because I didn't understand any of it.
Right.
But they did say 135 million people watched. So the NFL is like, cry me a river. If you don't like it, we don't care, because we had 135 million people watching, and that is what all the NFL cares about. And that's why they're expanding their number of games overseas to 9 next year. And, eventually there'll be an NFL team from Europe or from Latin America or from Germany or somewhere else.
Well, that's my biggest concern, Phil. If it will prevent the NFL from doing something extremely stupid and moving the Super Bowl to, say, Brazil for a year or to London or to Paris and take your route where if you have the best overall record, you host all the way through the playoffs, including the Super Bowl, I'm willing to do that. I'd like it to stay the neutral site game as long as it's in the United States. I don't want to see a Super Bowl in London.
Well, that's a runaway freight train.
Call me provincial.
That's a runaway freight train, and there's nobody pulling on the brake to stop it because it's just going to go where the money goes. It's a money train, and it's going to go where the money goes. There was a video of after the performance by Bad Bunny where the commissioner gave him a long, of course, he does that when he has the draft and the number one picks come up. He gives him this nice long bear hug. He gave him this nice long bear hug, congratulating him on his performance. So, to me, that's just an aside. Hey, I think it's good. It gives the players a half hour to recover. If the NFL cared about the health of their players, they wouldn't limit them to a 12-minute halftime. But the only reason they limit them to a 12-minute halftime, think about that. These guys are out there knocking each other around for a half hour. They get 12 minutes at halftime, and you have less than that by the time you get in the locker room. And, of course, they do that to keep everything on a time schedule so that they can start the afternoon games by 4:25. If you had an extended halftime, 20-25 minutes, you'd either have to start earlier or have the second set of games starting later. And, they don't want to do that. So that was good for the players. They got a nice long break. And whatever, 135 million people watched it. So that had to be considered a success from an NFL standpoint.
Did you turn on the TV?
I want to know what the other – oh, go ahead.
Did you turn on the TV in time for the national anthem, or were you late for it?
Oh, yeah, I missed it. Yeah. It was only
under 2.
See, I was at the South Carolina women's basketball game.
Yeah.
And the post game
beatdowns.
The post game ran long, or in terms of the start over, they didn't come out for a long time, so it threw us behind. At least it threw me behind, trying to get out. Not that I cared; I wasn't rushing to get home for it because I had no dog in the fight. Really didn't care. Speaking of that, South Carolina women yesterday were fantastic. What a performance! And I tell you, and they're not even healthy. I mean, they played basically 7 players yesterday. They're not even healthy, and they're able to do that to the 19th ranked team in the country. Handed the Tennessee women their worst loss ever, and just did so with they did so with style. They did it with a little bit of everything, but their offense was fantastic. They were shooting. Into the fourth quarter, they were making 73% of their shots. They finished at 69%, which was a record for them in an SEC game. But they were at 73% at one point. So they continue to roll along. They're still third in the AP women's poll. There were 5 voters that voted them fourth. 5 voters had Texas ahead of South Carolina on their ballot. Yeah. Well, they split games.
Yeah,
they split games.
I mean, you can make that argument. I don't think there's any argument to be made to move them ahead of UCLA, and certainly not ahead of UConn. UConn is on a different planet right now. But what the Gamecocks did yesterday, Phil, especially now, and you pointed this out on Twitter, and they actually mentioned it during the broadcast about Dawn Staley sort of resurrecting the zone defense at USC, something she rarely plays. I think they threw up a stat during the game yesterday. They played 95 possessions of zone this season. The previous 5 years, they played 96 possessions total. And I just thought that threw Tennessee way off what it wants to do. And Kim Caldwell's got a lot to answer to up on Rocky Top. I've never seen a team quit as talented as Tennessee is the way they did yesterday. Once that game got to about 7-8 point lead for USC in the second quarter, Tennessee couldn't have cared any less. They couldn't wait to get on the bus and get home.
Yeah, yeah.
It's an indictment of their team yesterday. There's no question. Not just the beatdown that the Gamecocks put on them, but the effort they did not display.
But she admitted it as well. She's the one that called out her team and said they quit, which I guess on the one hand, that's a good thing to hear a coach say that and be honest about it. It's a bad thing that you let it happen. Meantime, the South Carolina men had what's become a typical game for them, another rough showing for them in front of the home fans. And, I mean, you really saw against Missouri the difference that inside people can make. And South Carolina just doesn't have him, or Lamont Paris just won't play him because he doesn't feel like the two bigs that he has on his bench, both 7 feet, actually 7 feet and 7'1". As he said afterwards, there's more to basketball than height, and if you don't want to rebound, and if you're turning the ball over, and if you're not playing defense, and if you're not running the plays the right way, there's no reason to play you just because you're tall, is what he was saying. So apparently those two fellas aren't giving him much of anything from the standpoint of playing the game the way he wants it to be played. Thus they sit and they get just crushed on the boards by Missouri, which, they had a 7'5" guy, Missouri did, and they had 6'11s and 7-footers, and not to mention some quality guards. It's not a bad Missouri team whatsoever, and they just killed South Carolina's second chance points, rebounds, the usual stuff that's getting the Gamecocks right now. Not a good showing whatsoever. And now, with that loss and what's ahead for the Gamecocks the rest of the season, I mean, you were looking at these games. You were looking at LSU at home as a possible win, turned out to be a loss. You were looking at Missouri as a possible win, turned out to be a loss. Now you got to go to Alabama and Florida. At least they won't have to face the NBA, the G League recruit for Alabama. He's been denied. Charles Bediako's been denied a preliminary injunction against the NCAA, so he'll no longer be eligible to play for Alabama this season. This just coming out. So Bediako has been denied after earlier receiving a temporary restraining order.
That is great news.
So he's been denied a preliminary injunction, which I guess is stronger. I need an attorney to tell me, is a preliminary injunction stronger than a temporary restraining order? It must be. It must carry absoluteness with it because it says no longer will be eligible. So he has no other avenues to appeal? Is this it? Once this judge is denied?
I don't know the answer to that, Phil.
Yeah.
But your point about Carolina, I just don't see another win on the ledger.
Maybe Ole Miss. They're not very good.
Yeah, but that's on the road.
That's true. Maybe Mississippi State at home. They're not very good. But the rest, Alabama, Florida, Kentucky, at Georgia, Tennessee, and at Ole Miss. Yeah, there's not much left on there. Mm-hmm. And then there's Clemson. We'll talk about them after the break. What a job they did on the West Coast. Still not moving in the AP poll. In fact, did you know that 9 voters did not rank Clemson this week at all?
It might be tough to picture your kid in college today, but it'll be here before you know it. Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 college savings plan, makes it easy to start saving right now. You can start with any amount. Savings grow tax-free, and friends and family can chip in too. Discover the smart, easy way to save today at FutureScholar.com. That's FutureScholar.com. That's futurescholar.com.
Traveling can be the worst, especially when you can't find your favorite show. Well, don't worry. We've got the perfect way to keep up with everything happening in the Palmetto State when you're away from home. Just pull up the Chief Sports app on your mobile device, and you can listen live to Sports Talk.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Sports Talk Media Network.
So the next time you can't find us on one of our great radio affiliates, just log on to the Chief Sports app, the best way to stay connected with the Sports Talk Media Network.
Too tough to tame? Try too rough to ride. Nothing about this place lets you sit back. It rips up your tires and tears at your heart.
Let's go!
History, glory, consequences. That's Darlington, where stripes are well earned. The Goodyear 400. NASCAR's best face the lady in black. And this spring,
how about that?
She'll leave her mark.
Hell yeah, boys!
NASCAR weekend at Darlington Raceway, March 20th through the 22nd. Get your tickets now at darlingtonraceway.com.
You've put in the work for your education. The extra early, extra late, extra work. That's because you understand education opens doors to better pay, better opportunities, and a better you. Being educated about playing the lottery is no different. It helps you be a better player, one who knows when to play and when to take a rain check. The lottery's a game, so let's keep it fun. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
Yeah, 9 AP voters left Clemson off the ballot, out of the top 25. I don't know what they're watching.
They ought to lose their credentials to vote, Phil. That's embarrassing. They're 20-4. You put that record on North Carolina, that's the top 5 team. I mean,
yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
What are you watching?
And they're tied for the lead in the ACC. You're exactly right. So another great performance by the Tigers on the West Coast, balanced performance. Buckner, who's coming off the bench and been superb with 13. Godfrey had 13. Carter Welling, who didn't score in the Stanford game, he bounces back. He had 11. Well, I make that Wallin. I think it was Wallin that didn't score in the Stanford game. He had 11. Welling had 11. They won with Dylan Hunter not scoring. And only taking one shot. And he had some early foul trouble. He had 3 fouls. I think he had some early foul trouble, but he only played 15 minutes. So they won without maybe their best player not scoring, and they still won. So that tells you the depth of – now, one thing about Clemson, and it's been great, and they've looked great so far, but the tests are coming. And we will know more. They play Virginia Tech, who they should beat at home on Wednesday night. But then,
if they're focused, if I'm Brad Brownell, and he talked about this a little bit earlier today, Phil, he said the one concern he had about the West Coast trip was not going out there. It was how his team would respond coming back. And so they did not do anything yesterday when they got home. They canceled their morning. They normally evidently work out on Monday. They canceled that today, and he wasn't anticipating a heavy practice later on today. This is the ultimate trap game. Playing really well. You've got Duke on the weekends, battle for first place. If there were ever a game that Clemson would slip up, this would be it.
Yeah, you can't be drinking. No, what is it they say? The rat poison?
The Kool-Aid. Yeah, the rat poison.
The rat poison. Don't be drinking or eating the rat poison. Probably eating the rat poison and drinking the Kool-Aid. But then they got Duke on the road. Then there's Wake Forest on the road. And then there's Florida State. And then there's Louisville and North Carolina. So, I mean, they got 3 of their toughest opponents of the entire season still to play, and 2 of those are on the road. So we'll see how the Tigers look after that. But they look good. They look good at this particular time. And let's see what else to touch on. I think that's it.
Don't overlook the best game of the weekend.
Oh, yeah, your game.
Holy smokes. Triple overtime win for Coastal over UMass and Frank Martin.
Frank.
It was an incredible game. It really was. It was an incredible game. By the way, I talked to him afterwards. He said to tell you hello, and he wanted me to ask you said, next time you see Corn, you be sure to ask him the fourth string offensive tackle for LSU is who?
Yeah, that's him. He always believed that we talk too much football, which is probably true from his standpoint. But, yeah, they're having a pretty decent season. But that was a tough loss for them, but a good win for Coastal Carolina. So we'll certainly take that. Okay, let's jump to the phones. 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to reach us, and our text line number is 803-900-4847. We go to Keith in Camden, first up tonight. Keith, good to have you. Welcome into Sports Talk.
Hey, Phil, Bergie. Hope y'all had a great weekend.
Sir.
Yeah, just Carolina basketball for a minute. I know y'all have spoken about them upping the money and maybe speculating $4.5 million. After watching this past game, I mean, at what point does the AD say enough's enough? I mean, I look at Brad Burnell in the last few years, how through the portal he has filled in and maintained this level, high quality of basketball play. And I find it hard to believe that they're spending $10-12 million. I may be wrong, but the outlook doesn't look bright. What do you foresee? I know you don't have a crystal ball, neither one of you, nor do I, but man, is the answer us spending $10 million? I'm not sure that's it. I'm just curious of y'all's thoughts, and enjoy the show as always.
Thank you. The answer is not how much you spend, it's who you spend it on. And yeah, I think it's pretty well known that they are spending $4 million plus on this roster. So, like Michie Johnson supposedly is getting $800,000. Is that a wise use of your money to put all of that into a little guard? You're in a league where you've got to have bigs. I think it's been well established that you have to have big people in this league. Here's what I would do, Bergie. I would take, if I'm getting 5, I'm taking 4. And, I mean, I'm going after the best big guy for $4 million. Certainly, I can get a good big man for $4 million. I'm pouring all my money into a guy like a Debanza at BYU. I mean, what are they paying him, like $8 million, if I read that correctly, from BYU, some extraordinary amount. But that's why they got him. South Carolina's got to do the same thing.
On Point Weather, brought to you by our friends at Palmetto State Armory.
On 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clear and chilly this evening, a low temperature tipping down to 35. Tomorrow, it's a taste of spring. Sunshine-filled skies, a high temperature all the way up to 72 degrees. Wednesday, we have a 30% chance we get some showers, and we're cooler for the upcoming weekend. Rain expected both Saturday and Sunday. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
Nothing better than supporting local farmers and getting the best of the best when it comes to beef. Did you know H&J Cattle Company now is a store you could shop at directly? Yep, 2074 Bethany Schoolhouse Road in Saluda. Highest quality beef, a nice drive out to the country, and great playground for the kids. You can even get an ATV tour of the farm. Even have local honey, tallow, elderberry syrup, and beautiful home decor items. Online, it's HandJCattle.com or find us on Facebook, H+J Cattle. Better yet, come around and see us. H&J Cattle Company.
Dr. With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The world's biggest social media companies face several landmark trials this year that seek to hold them responsible for harms to children who use their platforms. Opening statements for the first in Los Angeles County Superior Court began on Monday. Instagram parent company Meta and Google's YouTube will face claims that their platforms deliberately addict and harm children. Savannah Guthrie said in a video released Monday that her family is at an hour of desperation in the search for her missing mother, Nancy Guthrie. That comes ahead of a looming ransom deadline set for Monday evening by the purported abductors. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 20 points, the Nasdaq rose 207, the S&P advanced 32. More details at srnnews.com.
Are you tired of that sinking feeling when the electric bill arrives? Does the phrase peak hours trigger anxiety and a headache? Do you suffer from chronic fatigue of watching your hard-earned money evaporate right into the power grid? You may be suffering from utility pain and anxiety disorder, or UPAD. Symptoms include sweating when running the AC, a fear of turning on lights, and a general feeling of powerlessness over your energy costs.
It's time for you to try Solaris from Ken at Broker Solar. Broker Solar isn't a temporary fix, but a lasting solution with cutting-edge solar technology designed to address high energy bills at their source. Many clients have experienced immediate relief from high monthly payments with reports of increased home value and greater financial freedom. Imagine a brighter future for your home and your wallet. Side effects include the freedom to use your appliances when you want and a powerful sense of energy independence. Broker Solar, a brighter outlook for your home and wallet. Call us now, 803-807-7417. That's 807-7417 or online at brokersolar.com.
At Palmetto State Armory, we offer the largest selection of guns and ammunition at unbeatable prices. Our knowledgeable and friendly staff are here to provide personalized assistance, ensuring you find exactly what you need. If you enjoy outdoor activities like hunting, camping, or hiking, our clothing and outdoor gear collection has got you covered. We also feature an exceptional indoor range facility where you can experience the thrill of shooting in a safe and controlled environment. Visit us today at PalmettoStateArmory.com or your local retail store. Palmetto State Armory, American made for life.
When your temperatures swing, your comfort shouldn't. At Sweet Comfort Services, we make sure your system's ready for anything. Get our $99 preventative maintenance, a full inspection and tune-up that keeps your equipment efficient, reliable, and safe. Thinking it's time for an upgrade? We offer estimates on new Goodman and American Standard systems. You'll get honest advice, fair pricing, and expert installation. No gimmicks, no surprises. Call 803-331-8143 or visit sweetcomfortservices.com to schedule today.
This fall, discover a place where friendly faces greet you at the door. McCoy's Hardware of Lexington. Greg Lynette and their welcoming team make every visit a breeze with expert advice and genuine hometown care. No more endless aisles or big box blues, just quality products and people who want to know your name. For every project, big or small, find what you need and a neighborly smile at 2028 Augusta Highway. Shop local. Shop happy. McCoy's Hardware of Lexington.
Experience South Carolina's printing powerhouse. Professional Printers is your trusted partner, bringing over 30 years of expertise in print and graphics. From digital printing to web and sheet-fed solutions, we handle it all with a team of over 100 dedicated professionals. Locally owned and operated, we have 2 locations in the Midlands and serve our customers with pride, ensuring top-notch service and quality in every project. We do it all, including storage and promotional products. Visit proprinters.com and elevate your printing experience with us.
All right, coming up tonight on Sports Talk, we're going to hear from Steve Spurrier. Did a Zoom call today with some media here in South Carolina. We were on that Zoom call. Bring that to you. Some selected comments from Spurrier coming up, so stay tuned for that. Scott Hamilton, the bottom of the next hour, will be joining us as the AP voter in South Carolina, get his thoughts on the AP poll this week and the fact that 9 of his brethren didn't even put Clemson in the top 25. I still find that remarkable. He was not one of the 9,
though, correct?
No, he had him 18th.
Okay.
He had him 18th. And recruiting is coming up as well. And more of your phone calls, 888-898-2525. Comments from Brad Brownell also. Tigers getting ready for Virginia Tech and then that trip over to Duke. And before we get back to calls, let me do a few little things here very quickly. Our poll question of the week for this week brought to you by Larry Lucas, State Farm Insurance in Columbia, 803-799-1998. In Lexington, 803-359-0770. How many regular season games are you expecting Clemson to win this season? 45 or more, 40-45, 35-40, or 30-35. 66.7% thus far have it between 40 and 45. 25% 35-40, and 8% think the Tigers will go 45 or more in the regular season. So that means, like, let's say they hit 45. That's 45-11 Eric Bakich would sign up for that. I would say. By the way, we'll hear from Bakich tomorrow night. He's meeting with the media tomorrow. We'll hear from Neri on Thursday, I think it is. I think he's meeting with the media again on Thursday. And we'll do some other baseball stuff this week going into the opening of the regular season. So that's our poll question of the week.
He's going to hit between that 40 and 45 mark because that's what he's done all 3 years at Clemson.
Mm-hmm. Make
44 wins, 44 wins, 45 wins.
You get over to our website, SportsTalkSC.com, or to our X page, SC Sports Now, and vote there. The College Sports Commission opened an investigation into Nebraska athletes over unreported NIL deals. Nobody seems to be scared of that commission or what they might do because so far they've done very little from that standpoint. South Carolina's Joyce Edwards is the Naismith Women's College Basketball Player of the Week. She had a great week. South Carolina women, they won 3 games last week. Don't forget, they played Monday, Thursday, and Sunday, and they demolished all 3 of their opponents. Jordan Kay of the State with a story today that South Carolina is going to the State Physical Accountability Board tomorrow. I bet you that's an exciting couple of hours. Trying to get approval. Can you imagine the guys that sit on that board? Mr. Pencil Pusher. Anyway, they're trying to get approval for their next multimedia rights holder because the Learfield deal is coming to an end. Now, Learfield, of course, can re-up. I'm sure they probably have a window for negotiations first, but they want a 15-year deal. State law only allows a 7-year deal. And South Carolina wants to go in there and change the state law to allow a 15-year deal. They say the information that Jordan had from South Carolina athletics with the information they sent to the state legislature, to that committee, is that basically they can get more money with a 15-year deal than what they can under the current circumstances. More money for NIL, more money for everything else that they need more money for. So they are seeking to go with a 15-year deal. The question now is Learfield or any multimedia rights holder going to want to be on the hook for 15 years with South Carolina? Maybe they will, maybe they won't. And, Learfield is it's not, they've got the vast majority of the rights to the major colleges all across the country. They don't have them all, but they got the vast majority. Now, Clemson does theirs in-house. They do their own. They don't have a media rights holder. They do their own thing. I guess that works out well for them, but this Learfield deal has obviously worked out well for South Carolina over the years. NC State and South Carolina mutually agreed to cancel a future home-and-home football series, according to open records requested by the Wolfpacker. It was set to start in 2030 in Columbia with a return game in Raleigh in 2031. The Clover football team is hiring Bennett Swigert from Hillcrest to be the next head coach there, replacing Perry Woolbright, who left to become the new coach at North Myrtle Beach. Bennett, of course, Somerville, a one-time South Carolina quarterback, been a very good head football coach. Former Brave DH Marcel Ozuna and the Pirates agreed to a 1-year, $12 million deal. So he is out of there as far as Atlanta is concerned. And that's it. That's what we've got for you for now. So let's go to Hank in Columbia, get back to phone calls on this Monday night. Hank, welcome into Sports Talk. Good to have you with us. How are you?
I'm doing fine, Corn. 2 things, Corn. One, I think it's clear if anybody looks, you can tell that we spend the lowest amount with the men's basketball and NIL. Just when you've been to a number of games, Corn, before they even tip the ball up, you look at the type of athletes when they're all standing around there getting ready to jump center, and it don't look right. I mean, we haven't seen a squad yet that it looked like this was the varsity squad not playing the JV squad. When you just look at it, when you say,
yeah, well, there's no question that they are overmatched physically by everybody they have played in the SEC this year. And I mean, that's the decision they made. they made the decision. Remember now, they made the decision to go with this sort of a team with the idea that they could survive with 3-point shooting. That was going to be their thing. The perimeter play, 5 around the horn, and shoot the 3. And, of course, in the preseason against non-SEC teams, they were pretty good at that. One of the very early game, they had 16 3-pointers. But they've lost all that now, confidence-wise, and they've lost all. What'd they do against Missouri? 3 of 22 from 3?
Yeah, something bad.
Mm-hmm.
But Corn, when you say they made that decision, is that decision to me kind of is like all the way up to the top, because they were talking about these men. They were saying for a good big man, like you said, you have to spend $3.5-4 million. So if they had $4.5 million, and you had to spend about $4 million, $3 to $4 million to get an athletic big man, they had 9 other spots they had to fill on that team, because remember they only had 2 returners. So how did they were they tied that you got to buy which high school players you can get and the players come out the portal, because the high school kids coming in, they each get a number that's put down there also.
Well,
so Walker and Ellis and all those guys.
I think, and Bergie, you watch a lot more college basketball up close than I do, but I watch higher level college basketball than you do when I get a chance to watch it. But you get to watch it from the floor. I have to watch it from the ceiling.
Upper deck.
Anyway, but my point is, in the SEC, I mean, and in basketball, you can change everything with the right big guy. And then you can fill in around him with less talented players, but guys that fill a role. I dare say, I don't know what Clemson is spending on its basketball team salary-wise on those players, but I doubt any of those players are breaking the bank, because, I mean, there weren't – I don't believe there were a lot of other teams going after those guys, pushing their value sky high and forcing Clemson into any kind of a battle for them financially, and South Carolina, I mean, they spent a bunch of money on G.G. Jackson, okay, terrific individual player, but it didn't work for the team. That would have been one, he's a big guy. If you had the right players around him, Mike could have done something, but they had a terrible team that year, and you spent all that money on him. Then they had the next. Well, hang on. They had the next team that went. I'm trying to get my history right. They had the next team after that was the one that went to the tournament, right? And that was a team where.
Yep.
Team after that, and that's the team where. I'm just trying to remember the players. They had Cooper.
Talon Cooper.
They had Michi was it Michi on that team? Michi was a holdover on that team.
Yes.
But you had Cooper, who was sensational at the point, and you had B.J. Mack, who was
a difference maker.
Yes,
for
he
them.
was. Yeah, and he might have been their highest paid player, but he was worth it. He was a guy that could go inside, but he could also stand outside. He kind of gave you that Swiss Army knife kind of guy.
Colin Murray Boyles was on that team too.
Yes, he was. Yeah, and you didn't know what he was going to become as a freshman, but Colin Murray Boyles played like his life depended on it. I hate to say it, I don't think there's anybody on that Gamecock team right now that's playing like their life depends on it. Is there? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. I agree with you, Corn. The effort looks like it doesn't take long to set the win out of them. Kind of like you were saying about the USC women when they played yesterday. Tennessee exchanged baskets for about the first 2 or 3 minutes, and once USC settled down and said, "We're going to give you a punch," they just destroyed Tennessee from that point on. And one thing I'll say,
look at this. Look at this. They played Mississippi State the previous game. In the third quarter, they won that quarter 30-6. Then they played Tennessee yesterday. They won that quarter 24-6. Then followed that up in the fourth quarter and held Tennessee to I think 9 points. Tennessee in the second half, I think Tennessee made. I think they were 6 of 36 from the floor, something like that. 18%. They shot 18% in the second half. I mean, South Carolina just clamped down on them defensively. Of course, they controlled the boards, layups, and they made threes. They did a little bit of everything well.
Well, Corn, the thing is with that is last Sunday, Tennessee played UConn, and they were tied at half, 42-42, and then UConn went on a run in the third quarter and ended up beating them by 30. It was about 4 minutes to go in the game yesterday, and Tennessee still had 41 points against South Carolina. And so, that's what a lot of folks say. And South Carolina was really down to 7 players. South Carolina at full strength, them, UCLA, UConn, and Texas, that would be a heck of a return Final Four. I don't care what anybody says. It's going to be something. But I looked at the clock and said it's 40. They got 41 points. It's 4 minutes to go, and they had 42 the previous Sunday when they were tied with UConn at the half. So it was just an impressive game. But the men, it just when you look at the physical stature of the players, it just doesn't look right.
No. Thank you very much. Thank you. And when you're losing and you're losing big like that, Bergie, it just beats you down.
No doubt.
It beats you down, the coaching staff. It beats you down on the players. And I happened to be standing outside when the coaches came out. Well, Lamont came out walking by himself, and it was kind of funny. He wasn't in a bad mood. I had asked him in the press conference about why you're not playing the bigs, and that's when he gave that answer. So he was walking past me on his way to his car, and he goes, well, I guess next game I'm going to play my big guys. I'm going to start 2 7-footers. I said, well, that's what – I
don't understand why you wouldn't.
I said, that's what I would do. All in kidding, of course. Then the assistants walked out, and I was talking to one of them, and they're bummed out. I think they're kind of shocked at where they are with this team right now. Back in a moment.
If you missed the home equity line of credit offer from Founders Federal Credit Union, we have good news. The offer has been extended, but don't wait. You only have until February 28th to get up to $750 toward closing costs when you open a Founders HELOC. That's more in your pocket for home improvements, debt consolidation, major purchases, unexpected expenses, or a much-needed vacation. The possibilities are endless. Imagine starting a new year with financial flexibility and peace of mind. But hurry, this special offer ends February 28th. Save more and jumpstart your year. Plus, you'll enjoy competitive rates and flexible terms designed to fit your budget. Visit foundersfcu.com/HELOC for more information. Membership qualification required. Institution NMLS. Identifier number 410646. Equal housing lender. See website for details.
Too tough to tame? Try too rough to ride. Nothing about this place lets you sit back. It rips up your tires and tears at your heart.
Let's go!
History, glory, consequences. That's Darlington, where stripes are well earned. The Goodyear 400. NASCAR's best face the lady in black. And this spring,
how about that?
She'll leave her mark.
Hell yeah, boys!
NASCAR weekend at Darlington Raceway, March 20th through the 22nd. Get your tickets now at darlingtonraceway.com.
Hi, I'm Jim Corbett. I've been an attorney for more than 30 years. There's one thing I've learned about injury cases. It's you need the personal touch. You need the lawyer to get to know you and describe your damages. You don't want a case manager talking to an insurance company and then talking to you and then talking to maybe to a lawyer with limited experience at the last minute to try to settle a case. I talk to you, I find out what your case is about. Jim at JimCorbettAttorney.com. Jim at JimCorbettAttorney.com for your injury cases.
Hi, Phil Kornblut here with our good friend George Bryan III. Heard every Friday night on Birdies, Bogeys, and Biceps right here on Sports Talk. George, the Tsunami Bar, a very valuable tool for golfers. Why is that?
Well, the first thing that I say is the tempo. It's the only tool out there that allows the study of tension right from the first grab to be expressed, and rhythm and tempo is what makes the bar work, and it gives you something awfully special to keep those hands soft and get that rhythm going.
Learn more about Tsunami Bar technology by clicking on the digital ad on our website, SportsTalkSC.com, and save 5% by purchasing online using the promo code BBB5.
Hey, Sergeant Barrow, while to break the spell of aging. Celebrity skin, is this your generation?
All right, we are back. Sports Talk Media Network. Phone number 888-898-2525. Some text messages at 803-900-4847. Roger from up in Woodruff. A message for Chris. Chris, I watched the last 2 overtimes of the UMass game Saturday and decided to pull up the UMass radio broadcast online to get Frank's reaction and pulled the site up in time to hear him drop an F-bomb. Brought back memories. That's awesome. That's awesome.
I don't ever have to worry about that with Justin Gray. Thank goodness.
I'd agree. This is from Mike in Barnwell. Much rather watch the Caribbean Baseball Series than the Pro Bowl. No, we were talking about that last week. Yeah, I agree with that.
Doubt.
Yeah, the Pro Bowl is either going to go away or, like maybe you mentioned, go to a 7 on the flag version of the game or something, or maybe just kind of go back and play a football game. I'm sorry, if you get hurt, you get hurt, but that's football. That's what you get paid millions to play, and this other crap is just not cutting it, just not cutting it. Bobby in Georgetown, this is from last week. Bobby in Georgetown, Paris should at least put those 2 7-footers in and let them foul the bigs, getting those offensive rebounds. Yeah, that's something else you could do. But they'd have to play with some effort as well, and apparently he's not seeing the effort in practice to lead him to believe he can trust those guys to go out there and give him some quality minutes.
They can't be more lackadaisical than what he's putting out there on the floor right now, though. If that's the case, that is a stinging indictment on those 2 guys.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think they're so far down the bench you can't even see him. And you know who else has faded away? And a guy that was a starter the first part of the season, and he doesn't play at all anymore. He's not hurt. I don't know what. And he was supposedly going to come in and give them a boost, but that's Norden Kopic. He's 6'8". So you got sitting on the bench. You've got 6'8" in Norman Kopic. You have got. I'm looking for the actual size. Whatever. You got Kreist Asandago, who is 7 feet. You got Jordan Butler, who is 7 feet, and they're all sitting on the bench. And you're a team that is getting killed on the boards.
And not that he would help there, but you got to start wondering if Lamont and the staff are wondering about the decision to redshirt Cam Scott.
Well, there must be a reason for that, and that reason must be they don't think he's ready. I guess.
I'll be fascinated to see if he ever plays again for USC, if he doesn't end up transferring somewhere else.
Right. Well, it's going to be this basketball team has sort of taken on the appearance of the South Carolina offensive line. The offensive line got blamed for everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they pretty much totally cleared the cupboard of the offensive line. And you might just see a complete sweep of this roster. Who would you want to retain who could come back next year based on what you've seen? E.J. Walker, Hayden Simeon, because when he gets out there, he plays hard. Hayden Simeon, but his playing time has gone down. Eli Ellis.
I think you definitely want to keep him.
Yeah, if you can. He might say he might just decide he's not happy there. I'm just looking to see who else has eligibility that can come back that you might want to keep. Let's see. He's a redshirt senior. He's a freshman. Of course, they're redshirting Abu Yarma. So they're redshirting him, a Grant Polk, a freshman, who's got some skills and some promise. The point is, if you spend $4 million on a terrific big man and surround him with guys like some of these freshmen, Ellis and a Simeon and Polk and Walker, and then maybe Cam Scott comes back. Elijah Strong can come back. He's a junior. He could come back. But you got to get a dominant guy. You got to get a 15-10 kind of guy. And that's what you got to go spend $4 or $5 million on, be quite honest with you.
funny you bring up the Gamecock offensive line. I didn't think I'd ever see a unit that performed any worse. The Patriots may have actually proven that you can be even worse than what USC's offensive line was.
Well, they were playing against some road graders last night, weren't they?
They got run over.
Yeah.
Good grief.
Let's go to Andy in Columbia before the top of the hour. Andy, welcome to Sports Talk. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good. Get my 2 minutes like usual.
Mm-hmm.
Miles Studi owes us a refund for the past 3 years. Like I've been saying, worthless. Okay. Jones last night, what did he have, 11 tackles?
Yeah.
Led the game with 11 tackles?
Yeah.
And I forgot to mention, when you said last week the best three-man booth ever, I hate to tell you they're reuniting. They re-signed our man from Kiawah Island, Keith Hernandez. So Gary, Keith, and Ron are going to be back this year for 3 more years.
Exciting.
And Hernandez did move to Kiawah.
Did he really?
Remember when I asked you? Yeah.
Okay.
He sold his place in Florida. And
maybe I'll see him the next time I'm playing the Ocean Course.
Yeah.
Or Turtle Point.
But I'll tell you.
Or the River Club.
I'll tell you one thing. This basketball team, I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, I don't know what kind of future Lamont Paris has. I like Lamont. I think he's a great guy. But he's definitely not getting it done here. And I don't know what the problem is. I wouldn't be surprised if Eli Ellis, didn't his brother decommit from here and sign with Louisville?
Yes. Yeah. That was after they took a commitment from a guard who decommitted from Ohio State, Marcus Johnson, Michi's cousin.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's not joining his brother in Louisville.
Anything can happen.
It wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me one bit whatsoever. You fellas have a good night, and baseball starting on the 13th on Friday. I can't wait.
That is the 13th. Let's get that date right. Yep, Lamont Paris, he's underwater with his record at South Carolina. Meantime, on Saturday night, Dawn Staley goes for win number 500 with the Gamecocks.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The Arizona investigation continues into today's show host Savannah Guthrie's mother's disappearance.
Here in front of Nancy Guthrie's house, Pima County Sheriff's deputies are now a constant presence, as are the media, as the search for the missing 84-year-old mother of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie stretches into another week. Neighbors pass by the house. Some just watch as investigators continue to comb over the property. The FBI and local authorities have been reviewing ransom notes sent to some local media. Guthrie's family took to social media over the weekend saying they would pay to have their mother back, but also want proof of life. Meanwhile, a small vigil has been set up outside of her home, and it keeps growing. In the Catalina Foothills neighborhood, outside of Tucson, Arizona, I'm Ty O'Neill.
Nearly 6,000 public school teachers are striking in San Francisco.
We are still being promised one thing and offered another.
United Educators of San Francisco President Cassandra Curiel.
And our demands for fully funded family health care 100% remain the same, not 75%.
They are demanding higher wages, better health benefits, and more resources for special needs students. San Francisco has closed all 120 of its schools, offering independent study to some of the district's 50,000 students. Sound courtesy KGO. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
The world's biggest social media companies face several landmark trials this year that seek to hold them responsible for harms to children who use their platforms. Opening statements for the first in Los Angeles County Superior Court began on Monday. Instagram parent company Meta and Google's YouTube will face claims that their platforms deliberately addict and harm children. Good day on Wall Street as the Dow is up by 20 points. The Nasdaq rose 207. and the S&P 500 advanced by 32 points. More at townhall.com.
Newsmax, you like Newsmax. I like it too. Newsmax, you like Newsmax. I like it too.
It's true. Millions of Americans agree with President Trump, and they're switching to Newsmax. They're watching great shows with Greta, Carl Higbie, Rob Schmidt, Finnerty, and more. If you're tired of big media, start watching Newsmax. It's free to start. Go to NewsmaxPlus.com for immediate access. Get all of President Trump's most important events live. Imagine watching Mike Huckabee's Israel Report, our Melania documentary, Clint Eastwood, Charlie Kirk specials, even the movie Jesus of Nazareth by Franco Zeffirelli. Once you start Newsmax Plus, you won't stop. So try it for free. Go to NewsmaxPlus.com, then download the app. It's easy. So make the switch to Newsmax Plus today.
Stocks ended with modest gains.
Stocks drifted higher on Wall Street following rallies in Asia earlier in the day. The S&P 500 rose 0.5% Monday. The index pulled closer to the all-time high it set 2 weeks ago. The Dow Jones Industrial Average edged up 20 points. That's less than 0.1%. The Nasdaq Composite gained 0.9%. Treasury yields held relatively steady in the bond market ahead of reports coming up later this week on the job market and inflation. The yield on the 10-year Treasury notes slipped to 4.20%. Seth Sutel, New York.
Cuban aviation officials have warned airlines of a fuel shortage for refueling on the island. This is part of energy rationing as the Trump administration cuts Cuba off from its fuel sources. The shortage stems from U.S. political pressures severing Cuba's access to oil from Venezuela and Mexico. News and analysis at townhall.com. From Washington, I'm Keith Peters.
On Point Weather, brought to you by our friends at Palmetto State Armory.
On 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clear and chilly this evening, a low temperature tipping down to 35. Tomorrow, it's a taste of spring. Sunshine-filled skies, a high temperature all the way up to 72 degrees. Wednesday, we have a 30% chance we get some showers, and we're cooler for the upcoming weekend. Rain expected both Saturday and Sunday. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
This is The Point. Make thepointradio.com.
Come on, you're too slow. Press the button already.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil and Chris with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Good to have you with us here on this manic Monday night. Phil Kornblut, Chris Bergen, and the plumber, Josh Cohen, who's you're very happy today. Why are you in such a good mood? Did we have fun over the weekend or something?
I'm actually exhausted.
Why is that?
I guess I didn't get enough sleep last night.
Oh, why is that, plumber?
I don't know.
I mean, were you up like at a Super Bowl party or studying? Or?
No, I wasn't definitely not studying. No, I hardly watch the Super Bowl.
How's our little friend coming along? Sheila. Is her name Sheila? Shirley?
No.
Sharon?
No.
So he won't tell us. He won't tell us her name.
I want to go back to the comment Josh
Sandra?
made.
Go ahead, Berg. Go ahead, Berg.
Josh, you're a co-host of a sports talk radio show. How do you barely watch the Super Bowl?
Well, what was it? 6-0 at the half.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't. I was watching it intermittently throughout the first half, and I just was not interested at that point.
I don't want to give him the title of co-host, Bergie. I don't think we've promoted him to that quite yet.
Nonetheless, he is involved in sports.
He is.
The biggest sporting event of the year was last night. You need to watch it.
I didn't join it until midway through the second quarter.
You were just late, Phil.
Well, I had the
like
women's game.
Most things, you were just late.
I had
to
the
it.
women's game to properly cover. Then by the time I got home, I had to get the grill going, get the food going, and by the time I got everything cooking and I could go in and start watching, and I listened to it on the radio, but started watching it was the second quarter. Couple of quick, you'll like this note. Our buddy Justin Mathis in the Upstate, who'll be covering the Clemson game for us on Wednesday, Bergie tells us that he was talking to a friend of his who's a coach in the Upstate who said they're doing away with week 0.
Yay! Man, common sense winning all across the board today.
And it
no
would
Charles
be
Bediako anymore?
Yeah, week 1, week 2, etc., all the way through week 11.
Wow. How about that? Good for the high
this
school.
This came
league.
up when they were talking about realignment in schedules. So, I mean, it's not changing anything in terms of the number of weeks. It's just changing the terminology, which makes a lot of sense, to do it that way. And then a couple of other quick text messages. Then we're going to hear from Steve Spurrier. Mike in Barnwell, what is your prediction on Gamecock baseball this year? Well, I think they'll be better than last year. All right, I'm going to start there. That's pretty safe. They'll be better than last season, which means all they got to do is win 7 SEC games to surpass what they did last year. But I think they'll be better. I like the starting rotation despite not having Jake McCoy. And if all goes well, they'll have Alex Philpott back in time for the Florida series, 3 or 4 weeks for him, so early in SEC play or to start SEC play. So that'll be right now they've got like 5 guys they think can be starters, the 3 who are starters, the transfer from I think it's Wake Forest, and Philpott when Philpott gets healthy. So, I like what they've got going on there. Looks like Bo Hollins has gotten healthy. He's swinging a bat now. He's been playing in the last couple of scrimmages. I think Scobie's going to have a great year. Defensively, it's short and swinging the bat and supplying some power. They might have improved themselves in a couple of areas defensively. I think having a healthy catcher and an experienced catcher behind the plate is going to be a big deal for them because they struggled behind the plate last year. Now, the freshman did fine. It took him a little while, but he got better as the season went on. But, now they've got their veteran back behind the plate. So I like that situation for them. So, all that being said, I don't see why, from an SEC standpoint, they can't be a double-digit SEC team in terms of wins. Something in the neighborhood of, going from 6 to 10, maybe, because they had so many games they could have won last year that got away from them.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to say they're going to win 15 would be 500, 15. I'm going to say they'll win 12 or 13 SEC games and will be in the 35-38 win category overall. And they'll be right there on the bubble to get into the NCAA tournament with a chance to get into the NCAA tournament. That's how I see it.
I don't want to hedge my bet, but this team, especially after watching them last year, I'm wait and see. Let's revisit that Clemson weekend because, Phil, you're looking at, even if they are better, 3 of their 10, and I'm just talking 3 of their SEC series, are against number 2, number 3, and number 4 in the D1 baseball preseason poll.
Mm-hmm.
In LSU, Texas, and Mississippi State. I mean, they've got to be a lot better than they were last year to compete to get to the NCAA tournament, and especially with some of the injuries they're already suffering on the mound. Yeah, let's look at how they handle Clemson, and if they get swept by the Tigers, I'm not sure that this team is going to do much.
Well, we shall see. I don't think they'll get swept by the Tigers.
Clemson's owned them here of late.
They have, but I think that they're the only pitcher they're going to miss the entire season right now, I think, is McCoy. They're going to get Philpott back, so that's going to strengthen their pitching when he does come back. But I think they're going to be maybe better defensively up the middle from catcher to shortstop to second base. Now, maybe not center field because Nathan Hall was, really good from there for them last year out in center field. We'll have to wait and see. I don't know many of the players yet because they got so many new players. So, but the question was, what do you think? So I'm sort of giving a roundabout what I'm thinking kind of answer to what could happen. Okay, Steve Spurrier. You'll like this because it's Steve Spurrier. He's going into the South Carolina Athletic Hall of Fame, and today he did a Zoom call with several members of the media around the state to talk about that honor and talk about things related to his time at South Carolina. In fact, he began by talking about his very early days at South Carolina and something that was very important to him that he addressed pretty early.
My first year at South Carolina, 2005, I was invited to speak at the Black Caucus. And back in 2005, we still had that dang Confederate flag on the Capitol. And I got up and said, if it was up to me, we'd get rid of that flag on the Capitol. Let's make everybody happy and this, that, and the other. And a friend of mine said, Steve, you can't talk like that in South Carolina. Somebody's liable to kill you, shoot you or something. And I said, well, I'm going to, okay, because we do need to get rid of that flag. So anyway, later, Governor Haley and other people were instrumental in doing that. But if I had any part at all, I'm certainly proud of that because that was a wonderful moment for the state of South Carolina, I do believe. So other than that, football, we came a long way. It was interesting, the opportunity to have so many first in South Carolina football history, win 11 games, beat Clemson 5 in a row, and finish in the top 10, all those firsts was really a thrill for me. And my wife Jerry and I and son Steve and Scotty, we thoroughly enjoyed our years there.
Hey, Coach, you had many memorable moments during your time at South Carolina, but one that I see replayed a lot is that moment against Michigan in the bowl game when the officials are stretching the chains for the first down. Clearly not a first down, but they signaled first down. You became very animated. What went on between you and the officials at that point, and what'd you think when they gave the ball to Michigan, and then that led to the Clowney big hit? What'd you think about the play that Clowney made?
Well, that was a first, and I think the only time that it was clear he did not make the first down, and the referee was pointing that he did. And I thought the referee got confused. He was running around, and there's a whole bunch of guys, and it's that far short. And I just thought he got confused. And I said, no, we're going that way. And I told him, then he ran to the middle of the field and asked another ref. I said, you know he was short, don't you? And he just jogged on back to the middle of the field also. He didn't want to hear any more of it. But that set up the Clowney hit, of course, right after that. And then right after that, Connor Shaw hit, I think, Ace Sanders on about a 40-yard touchdown. So those bang, bang, bang were three memorable plays right there.
After Lou Holtz came here, I was just wondering, would you have ever come to take the head coaching job if Lou hadn't come here?
Oh, heck yeah. Heck yeah. I didn't have a job. That's why I was always appreciative to South Carolina. There was, I don't know if there was a bunch of openings that year or not, but there was a few, I guess. But Mike McGee came up and offered me the job. And I like jobs where you got nowhere to go but up. And that was the South Carolina job. The Florida job was the same way. In 1990, they'd never won an SEC, never won 6 conference games, and then we were able to 7, 8, 9, and all kind of stuff. So the opportunity to achieve things that have never happened before is, to me, that's very rewarding. Also, so we had a lot of firsts we could do there at South Carolina.
Also, Steve, you had those 3 consecutive 11-win seasons. Mm-hmm. South Carolina they only had one season of 10 or more wins before you got here. Haven't had one since. Tell us, how difficult is it to do that in the SEC?
Well, you got to have a real good team, and obviously we did. And we lost a few here and there that I wish we could redo a little bit because we had a team capable of winning the SEC from 10 through 13. But, one game here or there. Actually, the year we won the division and went to the SEC championship game, we had 3 conference losses. And the other years we had 2. And we didn't make it when we had 2, but when we had 3, we won the division. But anyway, that's just the way it worked out. But certainly, all the players, staff, coaches, and so forth, we set our goals very high. And when you set your goals high, you have a chance of hitting them. We didn't hit all of them, but we did hit a whole bunch of them during that 10 through 13 span.
Your thoughts about coaching in today's college football atmosphere with NIL and the open transfer portal?
Well, I'm glad I'm not in it right now because I don't know that I would have liked that, but that's just the way it is everywhere. And you got to jump in there and get all your millionaire or billionaire alumni and say, we need a bunch of money to play these guys because that's what everybody else is doing. And so that's where it's at. The transfer portal, I don't like that particular. There should be some rules that maybe you can transfer twice or something. But these kids are going every year now, just every year somewhere or the other. But again, that's what it's all about. I think here at Florida, we got 50 new players going into next year's team, probably similar there at South Carolina. 20 recruits and about 30 transfer guys. So, and that seems to be what happens about every year with just about all the teams. But as they say, I read something in the paper about the SEC made over $1 billion last year. Did you hear that, Rick? That was in our paper. So the money's getting bigger and bigger, and the fan interest is greater than ever. So that's just the times we're in right now, it seems like.
Played in a bunch of rivalry games. How would you describe, though, the Clemson-South Carolina rivalry to people that might not understand it?
I'd say very typical to most in-state rivalries. We had FSU, South Carolina, Clemson, Alabama, Auburn, Mississippi State. I guess they have a little Virginia Tech. It's a good rivalry because the fans are obviously a little bit more into that game than the other games. But it's I know the South Carolina people were very happy when we had that 5-year run going.
Oh, yes. Do you have a memorable moment from the rivalry game with Clemson?
About all of them, really. I remember the one we lost probably more than the ones we won. We had a 21-20 lead and they couldn't hold on to it at home. I think the first year I was there, I think. But anyway, they were all special. They were all special. And people always ask me, what's your favorite game? Favorite home game had to be Alabama that day. It just seemed like the most beautiful day. And our guys played super. Offense, defense, kickers, everybody. And to beat the number one team in the country, that was reason to celebrate. And I think the Gamecock fans, they all looked at each other, the guys that had been there and women that had been there the last 30, 40, 50 years or whatever, and said, we beat the number one team in the country. So that was neat. And that was a special day. But finishing in the top 10, winning 11, those were really special seasons also.
Yeah, Coach, you had Stephen Garcia quarterbacking you in that win over Alabama and did some great things for you. Then you transitioned to Connor Shaw. What was it like with those two quarterbacks in terms of their playing styles, their personalities? What was it like coaching those two different kinds of guys?
Oh, it wasn't that much different. They both, could run a bit and throw the ball well at times. Stephen had a few issues here and there, whatever. He got suspended for something or another. But anyway, Connor was ready to go. And, of course, Connor never lost a home game. He was a special player. And then Dylan Thompson. Dylan came on and played really well those last year and a half and so forth. But, they were both good players. They're both good players. I really tried to coach them all pretty much the same. And they had a lot of good games, yeah.
Hey, Steve, going back to the NIL, we saw Indiana, a program that has been like the doormat of college football forever, and they go undefeated and win a national championship. Is that something that Gamecock fans could have a realistic goal for them having a similar turnaround like that?
Well, if they can get Kurt Signetti down there, that guy may be the best coach in America. I'm serious. When you watch him play, They don't do stupid things. They don't jump off. They did jump offside right at the end of that Miami game that almost cost them, but it didn't. But yeah, they're a well-coached team, and their players really play well. They play at a maximum effort and all that kind of stuff. So I think that's one reason they did so well this year. They won all their close games, obviously. But anyway, South Carolina, Florida, I think we had about the same record last year. So we got a new coach down here that I think, John Summerall, I think he's going to be pretty good. He's, I think, a little bit like Cignetti. He doesn't smile much on the sideline or anything. So anyway, obviously, ball players and coaching, it all goes together. And when that happens, you can have big years. But obviously, the schedule all the SEC teams play are maybe a little tougher than they used to be. So your record's not going to be as good also.
I was curious if you heard Dabo Swinney's comments from a few weeks ago talking about tampering and Ole Miss re-recruiting a player back into the portal after he'd already signed at Clemson with a scholarship. If you had any thoughts on the direction that some of that is happening in college football.
I thought by now somebody would have told Dabo, there ain't no rules anymore. They're still on the books, I guess, back there, but you can't do after this date or that date. Gosh, basketball, they got pros coming back to play in college there. So I don't know. I don't know if they're going to ever, enforce any rules now or not. But I think Dabo has learned now he's got to start paying his players just like everybody else is, or you'll get left behind. So, but anyway, there's you can complain, but I don't know how good it's going to do.
Right,
there's no rules. Just somebody tell Dabo there's no rules now.
Of course, Steve, when you left Duke and you left Florida, you left those places in a blaze of glory. It didn't end so well for you at South Carolina. As you reflect on your departure from South Carolina, any regrets on how that went down? Anything you would have done differently?
When I left, I was ready to leave, and I was hoping it didn't work out, that whoever the interim coach was could win enough games to maybe become the head coach, because I was definitely finished with the team I had there. I had a team that didn't listen to me, and I don't want to get in a lot of details, but I was finished. Okay, I was finished, and I guess I did a lousy job and this, that, and the other. So it was time to get out of there. A lot of people say, well, why don't you just say I'm resigning at the end of the season? It'll look better. I said, I can't do it that way. I can't coach a team that doesn't pay attention to you and doesn't listen to you and this, that, and the other. So anyway, it was my bad. And it was time for me to move on. Simple as that.
All right, Steve Spurrier, that's a good bit of what he had to say. All of it's up on our website, SportsTalkSC.com. So interesting stuff there, as always, from Spurrier. And, the very end, I guess, you should accept. There's some people who won't let that go the way that things ended, that he quit on his team in midseason, and I get that, you don't quit on your team. But his rationale was, I'd lost the team, is what he's saying. I'd lost the team. They weren't listening to me. I couldn't do anything with them. Maybe a fresh voice, a fresh approach would do him some good. And maybe the guy that replaces me would do well enough, that was Sean Elliott, would do well enough to turn it around and maybe have a chance to be the next head coach. So I can understand that, and I can accept that.
I agree, Phil, and my opinion changed after listening to him explain this, because I always wondered, well, if you were to that point where you felt like you were going to retire relatively soon, why not just retire at the end of the previous season? Well, it sounds like he was going into that year expecting to be able to coach and have another quality team. And once he realized about midway through they weren't listening to him anymore, that his voice had grown stale, it makes perfect sense now. It never did to me before him, but listening to him explain it, I'm not sure if I've ever heard him actually, and I'm glad you asked him that question. I'm not sure I've ever heard him explain exactly what happened. And clearly he had lost the locker room and felt like it wasn't going to do any good for him to stick around anymore anyway.
Now, from what I understand, he wanted to retire prior to that season, but they talked him into staying. Maybe there was some family pressure because he had his son on the staff, and they had the family together in Columbia, and why not coach another year? You're getting paid well, son's getting paid well, and just go out and do your thing. Maybe he didn't expect it to get away from him like it did in that season, but I think he really wanted to kind of hang it up after that great run.
Mm-hmm.
And after the great run they had, and then the Dylan Thompson team was a winning team. I think they finished 7-5. I think they won a bowl game. They beat Miami, I think. And then it turned after that. So I think he wanted to get out of it before then. But he was convinced to keep on going, and so it didn't end for him particularly well. He leaves Duke on a high horse going to Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Goes to Florida, resurrects, and wins a national championship there, and leaves on his terms to go to the NFL. Now, that didn't go well with the Redskins. He tried to turn the Commanders. They were the Redskins at the time.
They were the Redskins then, though.
Yeah. Tried to turn them into the Gators, into the Florida Gator version of D.C., and that didn't go well. He had so many former Florida players on the team. That didn't go well for him. So then he was out, and then, of course, South Carolina came a-calling, and he liked the opportunity. Who would have ever thought when they hired him that, A, he would be there long enough to become South Carolina's all-time winningest coach, and B, that he would be there, 11 seasons, I think it was, that he was the head coach? Was it 10 or 11? It was double digits. So
wow,
I think he was there a lot longer than he planned to be, and a lot longer than was expected. Of course, I don't think you go back and look at the bigger picture. I don't think when they hired Lou Holtz that they expected to be looking for a new coach so soon. But Lou was, I guess he was ready to go and forced to go, I guess, after the big fight with Clemson, because that was the end of it for him there, and it forced Mike McGee's hand to go looking for another coach, and it just so happened that you had Steve Spurrier sitting out there. And why wouldn't you go after Steve Spurrier? And he brought South Carolina the greatest run in its football history, Yeah,
it clearly was a home run hire. I don't think you can argue otherwise. And you're right, he was hired at the end of the 2004 season and then stepped down midway through the 2015 year.
Yeah, so all right, there you go. That's Steve Spurrier, and we'll be talking more about him and the others. Don't forget that the induction ceremonies come up in May, and it's always sold out, but you can, your organization, your company, you can get a table. Just go to the website for the South Carolina Athletic Hall of Fame. All the information is there. If you haven't gotten a table, you want to get a table, you can probably still get a table, but they will sell out, and it's a great event, and Spurrier is going to be the highlight guy there. I want to see Willie Jeffries hold Coach Spurrier to the 3-minute to 4-minute limit up there. I don't know that he can do that. Okay, we'll be right back.
On Point Weather, brought to you by our friends at Palmetto State Armory.
On 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clear and chilly this evening, a low temperature tipping down to 35. Tomorrow, it's a taste of spring. Sunshine-filled skies, a high temperature all the way up to 72 degrees. Wednesday, we have a 30% chance we get some showers, and we're cooler for the upcoming weekend. Rain expected both Saturday and Sunday. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
As a business owner, you want your customers to have the best experience possible, and that includes convenient parking. If you have designated parking spaces or an entire lot, Schroeder's Towing can provide free signage and installation for businesses to deter unwanted parking and removal of abandoned vehicles. Contact Schroeder's Towing and ask about free signage for your spaces or lot. Take back your parking. 803-772-7930 and SchroedersTowing.com.
Schroeder's Towing, Columbia's finest and fastest hookers in town.
The Point.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. House lawmakers have tried to interview Ghislaine Maxwell, but the former girlfriend and confidant of Jeffrey Epstein invoked her Fifth Amendment rights to avoid answering questions that would be incriminating. An attorney for Maxwell also told lawmakers that if President Trump ended her prison sentence, she would be willing to testify that neither Trump nor former President Bill Clinton were culpable for wrongdoing in their relationships with Epstein. Nurses in two major hospital systems in New York City have reached a deal to end a nearly month-long strike over staffing levels, workplace safety, and other issues. The tentative agreement announced Monday involves Montefiore and Mount Sinai hospital systems. On Wall Street, the Dow by 20 points, the S&P advanced 32. More details at SRNnews.com.
When your pipes panic, Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning steps right in, fast and friendly. Josh and his team aren't just fixing leaks, they're restoring your peace of mind. This is when you're at your most vulnerable. You got a problem, you need a solution. They're not coming out to upsell you or talk you into something new this or new that. You'll appreciate their process. They'll tell you what needs to get done and what it'll cost before they ever even bring in their tools to start the work. They're locally owned, which unfortunately is no longer the norm in the Midlands. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning will treat every home like their own. They've done work for me, for my brother, countless numbers of Point listeners. Dial 799-2222 or visit franklinplumbing.sc.com and you tell them Kev from The Point sent you. You will experience plumbing that's more than just a fix. It's a solution from people who care about their work and stand by it. When you need them, please don't panic. Just call Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning, 799-2222.
Tired of floors that go squeak, squeak, squeak? Are your carpets more vintage avocado green than modern chic? Ooh, rough. You really need to call Floor Boys. Floor Boys is ready to rescue your home from the tyranny of terrible flooring. We're talking gleaming hardwood so shiny you could check your reflection, luxury vinyl that laughs at spilled juice, and carpet that feels like walking on a cloud made of cute little kittens. Forget affordable. At Floor Boys, we'll make things affordable. So either shimmy on down to Floor Boys in Lexington to visit our showroom or visit us online, floorboys.com.
Hi, we're Glenn and Melanie Matthews, your neighborhood partners from Modern Exterminating. Since 1955, we've shielded your homes from unwanted guests.
Corporate giants, door knockers, startups.
No competition for our 3 generations of trust and expertise in pest control.
Choose local, choose family, choose peace of mind.
Experience the Modern Exterminating difference. Call 803-765-2315 or visit pestfreesc.com today.
We are Modern Exterminating. It's your home and it's our mission.
When you think of family, you think of hugs and lots of love. That's what your loved one will find when they move to Oakley Village for assisted living or memory care. You can rest assured your family members will participate in engaging activities, have exceptional care, and all their needs met. You gain peace of mind that comes from family taking care of family. Call Oakley Village today at 803-969-8168 and see how you too can join a community that feels like family. Or you can reach us online at oakleyvillagelexington.com.
Hey y'all, this is Ted from Flight Deck Restaurant. We'd like to invite you and your family to dine with us. We have a great menu that's sure to please your whole family. We have fresh cooked burgers, big juicy wings, blue plate menu featuring country cooking, oven baked hoagies, fresh crisp salads, authentic Greek food like gyros, souvlaki, and baklava. We also carry 20 different premium cheesecakes and pies. Flight Deck Restaurant also has an arcade with 30 different games like Star Wars, Batman, Skee Ball, Bass Wheel, Pac-Man, Galaga, and so much more. Flight Deck, your favorite family restaurant. Thanks y'all and God bless.
All right, we're back. Make a move from Steve Spurrier to Scott Hamilton, another big media giant here in the state of South Carolina, voter for the AP men's basketball poll every week. Welcome in, friend. Great to have you with us. Before we talk poll, did you ever have much interaction with Spurrier? Maybe when you were in North Carolina, he was at Duke. Did your paths cross there?
I golfed with him one time.
Did you beat him?
And hell no. And yeah, I hit a ball. This has been a long time ago. I hit a ball, and I wasn't going to be able to find it. We went on down there and looked for it, and we couldn't find it. So I was just going to drop and play another. He didn't even get out of his cart. He's just sitting there with his leg propped up, and he goes, "Big boy." I go, "What? What, coach? What?" He goes, "You did not hit a provisional. You got to go back and reload." He made me go all the way back to the tee and hit another.
Yeah.
And I was a nervous wreck.
Oh, yeah.
So I just choked up and scooted one up there to get it in the fairway, man. The rules was the rules. He was competitive even that day.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a bit of a stickler for those rules when it comes to that kind of stuff. And he doesn't like no foot birdies, no cheating out there, no improving your lie or anything like that. Play it as it sits. So that's kind of how he went about his business. Okay, it's great to have you with us. And looking at the AP basketball poll and the action from this past week, I don't know if you take a close look at it like I do, but, of course, you had Clemson ranked 18th. 9 voters, I found this hard to believe, 9 voters left Clemson out of the top 25. How does that happen?
I don't know, Phil. I mean, I think part of it is they look at that brand, that logo, and they're still trying to wrap their minds around that Clemson is a good basketball program. I think the others might have just forgotten because they did have those 2 games on the West Coast, and let's face it, things slipped through the cracks. But, I mean, Seth Davis is supposed to know all things college hoops. Yeah. He let that slip through the cracks. You know, I'm looking at the voters now who did that. He's the only one I know, like, I wouldn't say personally, but I know the rest. I don't know how seriously they're taking this. And it's things like that that gives the poll a bad name. I mean, think about what happened during the football when we had the young lady out in California who was ranking teams higher after losses and ahead of teams that beat them. And she said, oh, well, I had my own method, but she wouldn't explain it.
Yeah. Yeah, Jeff Borzello's another one. He's another national basketball guy. I saw Davis and I saw Borzello. I said, what are these guys looking at? Anyway, you had him 18, so you moved him up a couple of spots. When you're doing your poll, like, how difficult is it to move teams ahead, to move a team ahead of other teams who are also winning? Can you, in your mind, can you jump teams who are also winning, or you have to wait for them to lose before you jump them?
No, I'll jump them. I mean, you know, if they beat a ranked team and the other team beats a team from, just using as an arbitrary example, Horizon League, yeah, I'll jump them. Or if one team just absolutely blows the doors off of another, I'll jump them. You try to factor all that in. Look, it's way, you know, I do football as well. It's way more difficult with basketball, I think, because just the volume of the games. And, you know, in football, basically we consider the Power Four the end-all, be-all.
Mm-hmm.
The mid-majors count in basketball. I mean, you look at the poll right now, and you've got St. Louis in there. Miami of Ohio is undefeated. And how are we to weigh that? We have to look at so many different metrics and this and that. And, you know, at the end of the day, 24-0 is 24-0. How do you value that? And it's tough. It's tough, man. And I try to be consistent, try not to have, you know, crazy movements on my ballot, but at the same time, sometimes it warrants it. I guess that's a long-winded answer of saying it's tough. You know?
Yeah, I get it. So one voter had Clemson ranked as high as 12th. You have him 18th. So, I mean, but one guy had him as high as 12th.
Yeah, Dylan Sin. I've kept an eye on his ballot for a few years. He's another one of those extreme guys. I like, you know, and you know how I am. I'm high on Clemson basketball. I am. I love how the roster is constructed. I think Brad's done a wonderful job basically flipping the whole darn thing.
Mm-hmm.
And here they are again with another 20-win season. But I want to see a couple more quality wins. I do. And they're going to have an opportunity this week. Believe me, brother. They got Duke at the end of the week. And we'll find out a whole lot about this Clemson team. And Phil, that could be one of those scenarios where we talk about jumping teams.
Mm-hmm.
If the Clemson Tigers, let's arbitrarily say they're 21-4, and they go and they win at Cameron Indoor Stadium to go to 22-4, they beat and Duke has 3 losses. We got some hard decisions to make. I mean, what do you do with Clemson then? How high do you jump them? Suddenly they're taking on the tone and the tenor of a top 16, because think who their defeats are. They lost at Alabama, a game they should have won. BYU at Madison Square Garden when they blew a 20-point lead. And then NC State was a narrow loss. The only one that was really, I felt like they didn't really play that great was the first loss at Georgetown. So they have their opportunity this week. That's going to be a massive contest, massive.
Yep.
Scott Hamilton with us here tonight on Sports Talk. And Scott, speaking of that, talking about sort of re-ranking and maybe rethinking where you would put Duke versus Clemson if the Tigers were able to pull off the win. How do you do your poll? Do you start with the poll you had the previous week, or do you erase everything and start 1 through 25 brand new each week?
No, I don't. I'm not going to be one of those people to say, "Oh, I start fresh." No, I literally put in my old one, and I go through and then just write and see how each team did the week before. Like, for example, 5 of the top 10 lost last week, and that's significant, and it's been kind of a pattern throughout the college game at the start of this month. The ranked teams have struggled, especially on the road. So those are all things I'm trying to keep an eye on. But it's just so hard, man. I mean, I don't know how I got hornswoggled into this to be the only one in the state. And it's not like I get paid big bucks for it, and I have to come on and convince you guys I actually know what the heck I'm doing.
I believe you, man. You don't have to convince me. So how I have it, but I don't have your voting in front of me. But how do you handle a situation like North Carolina and Duke? All right, so great game. Duke leads most of the way, the entire way. I mean, Duke only led 0.4 of a second. I think that's a record. I think I heard that's like a record for winning a game and leading so little of it, 0.4 of a second. So how much did you penalize Duke for giving up a 30-foot shot at the buzzer to get beat?
On the road to your arch rival.
Yeah.
I dropped them 2 spots.
Mm.
I think that's a fantastic.
Would you
team.
ever not drop a team that loses? Do you have to drop a team that loses? I'm not saying uplift them, but could you not just leave them alone because of the circumstances?
Well, now let's think about that for a moment. Are we talking about, and if we do the poll and it's a week-to-week proposition, are we talking about they lost the only game they played that week, or they went 1-1?
Well, that's right, because they do play a couple of games. I would say, regardless of that, if you lose a game against a highly ranked team on the road on a last second heave ho that you've led the entire way, maybe you don't penalize them.
It's hard.
Yeah,
it's hard. I mean, or what if you lose? What if you lose a close game to a highly ranked team, but you barely beat a team you should have blown out by 22? We had that situation with, I think it was Michigan State this week.
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, it's a lot to consider. And they talk about the eye test in football. I think it applies more in basketball. I really do. I think it applies more in basketball. And here's a good example for you, Phil. I got Kentucky at 25th.
Yeah.
Right now.
They're barely hanging in there.
But no, I didn't have them on my ballot, though. But you got to remember, they got their doors blown off at Vanderbilt about a week and a half ago, and I'm like, oh my Lord, this is the apocalypse in the Bluegrass State. But the last 3 games, they've looked really good, and they beat some quality teams. I mean, that win over Tennessee the other night was massive. So I put them in at 25th. So it's just a crapshoot, Phil. It really is, man. And I'll say it again. The difference between 1, and I'm looking at my ballot now, the difference between 1 and 8, I could jumble them up, and I think any one of them you could put them at number 1. You couldn't really argue. The only one you could really make a case for that has to be number 1 is Arizona, because they're 23-0.
Mm-hmm.
Scott, I'm glad you brought that up, because I was going to ask you about the top 5. If Arizona were not undefeated, let's assume they lose tonight to Kansas. Can you still make the argument they're the best team in the country? Is Michigan better? How good is Houston? How do you figure out what kind of separation are we talking about between the top 3 or 4 teams in the country?
It's minuscule. I mean, I think any given night, Michigan's the best team in the country. I think Houston could be the best. St. John's was unbelievable the other night against UConn. You can't tell me that if we were to start over and have everybody 0-0 right now, and they were to play that game the other night, I might have St. John's number 1 team in the country.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, what we're doing right now, we're riding out the early part of the season where we had the preseason poll. That sets the perception, and then you ride that out as far as you can. And unbelievably, it's worked out at the top, because I'm looking at it now. The top 6 teams have a combined 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 losses. That's pretty phenomenal.
You gearing up for tonight's game, the one that Bergie just mentioned, Arizona, Kansas? That could be – I mean, we had so many great matchups this past Saturday, and then we follow it up with this one. That's what makes college basketball this time of year so great, even though everything else is pretty much done. This is where college basketball rises to the top with these kind of matchups.
Yeah, there was a Victor Mature movie coming on that I had my eye on, but yeah, I'll probably watch some of that Kansas game. I got to get a break every now and then, Phil. I watch so much ball, it's ridiculous. I tried to figure it out. My wife and I watched, I think, 8 hours of basketball on Saturday, something like that. I mean, straight.
Yeah.
And I'm also trying to watch what's going on in Phoenix at the golf tournament. So every now and then I like to take a break. I'll binge on Mad Men, or I'll watch The Thin Man or something.
Yeah, it's but you saw some great basketball. I mean, you went from North Carolina, Duke, to Kentucky, Tennessee, to Auburn, Alabama, to South Carolina, Missouri.
Texas Tech. Well, the next day though, you had Don Staley fighting. Don Staley's just putting an absolute beating on Tennessee now. Did you have that on your prediction list for the weekend? I sure did.
No,
I thought the Gamecocks would win.
Yeah,
but my gosh,
not that kind of beatdown.
And now they got a whole week to get ready for Kim Mulkey.
That's going to be some game down there at LSU for sure.
Oh man, I can't wait. Are you going? You should go to that. Phil.
No, I will not be making that
Take
trip.
your jet.
I will not be making that trip. Not making it. Hadn't come back from the Super Bowl yet, so I'll have to wait for it to get back and get re-greased and refueled. All right, Scott, we thank you, man, as always. Look forward to this every Monday night, talking about the AP poll.
Hey, before we get off here, I'd like to get your thought, if you can give me 30 seconds on this Bediako thing. He got denied. So.
Yeah, saw that. A little surprised, considering the source of the turn down coming from right there, the judge at Alabama. So I give him credit for turning deaf ears to everything. I mean, I think it's probably a good thing. We can't just open the doors and let everybody come and go and stay as long as they please. I mean, what's left of college sports has still got to have some sort of rules in place. I'm good with that decision.
All I'm going to say is this. That the Alabama people are not happy with Greg Sankey right now. For his deposition, he took the NCAA side.
Yeah,
so,
he did. That's right.
I'm interested to see how that plays out. But I'll let y'all go. I'm always appreciative to have me on.
Yeah, buddy. Thank you. Talk to you next week.
See you, fellas.
Enjoy watching all the hoops and trying to figure out how to place your teams in your poll. That's got to be a thankless job because
there's no doubt.
It's like trying to rank anything.
People like us, to criticize him every week.
But
how about the Victor Mature reference? That was well done.
That goes way back. You'll have to explain that to me because that's over my head. All right, recruiting is coming up after the break.
This is Major Billy Downer with the Department of Natural Resources, and I've got a message for all of our hunters out there. When you go afield, always make sure to positively identify your target. Know the identifying features of the game you're hunting, and know what's beyond your target in case you miss. If you want more information on hunter education, visit dnr.sc.gov or join us on Wednesday nights for SC Wild.
You can listen to SC Wild on the Sports Talk Media Network or at dnr.sc.gov/podcasts.
There's a lot of things we take for granted in our lives. Your home's AC will run cool. Your drive-through coffee will be hot. And the car will start when it's time to take your kids to school. It's when things don't go as planned that you start thinking about who to call and where to turn. The good thing is, you can prepare for life's most difficult days by calling the Larry Lucas Agency today. Larry is a State Farm agent that has been taking care of people across South Carolina for more than 2 decades. You probably have insurance, but switching is easy, and bundling can save you hundreds or more. Most importantly, the Larry Lucas Agency can help you choose the protection you want at the price you want. All backed by South Carolina's #1 home and auto insurance company. Visit LarryLucasAgency.com today or give Larry a call at 803-799-1998. Like a good neighbor, Larry Lucas State Farm is there.
One lottery ticket makes a big difference for our state students. And when I say big, I mean bigger than jackpot big. Since 2002, South Carolina students have benefited from more than $6 billion in lottery-funded scholarships and grants, including the Life, Hope, and Palmetto Fellow Scholarships. With every lottery play, you're supporting our students, and that adds up in a big way. That's why education is our middle name. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
Just like in college basketball today, sometimes it's about who you bring in off the bench to provide that extra spark. At StraightUpSports.net, we're excited to announce the addition of Brett Friedlander, a longtime ACC insider columnist, to our all-star lineup that includes Bob Gillespie, Scott Kiefer, Mark Sturgis, and more. At StraightUpSports.net, it's always about the stories. Check out this all-star lineup at StraightUpSports.net or at Straight Up Sports on Facebook.
Looking for a new car? You need to think about a Kia. If you're in the market for an SUV, consider the new Kia Telluride or the new Kia Sorento. They're big, they're strong, and loaded with tech for thousands less than Honda or Toyota. You'll see the difference right away, and you get double the warranty. Plus, you get the JT's Advantage million-mile warranty and about 1,000 other things you have to see to believe. If you want the biggest bang for your buck, it's time to think about a new JT's Kia. We're serious about saving you money.
Make your plans now to get to the coast for the Palmetto State's premier baseball showcase. The Classic, March 5th through 8th at Mike Johnson Park in Georgetown. Now in its 36th year, the Classic features the best high school players and teams from across South Carolina. Don't miss your chance to see the state's top Major League Baseball prospects and title contenders at the Classic. Presented by Coastal Chevrolet Cadillac Nissan. There'll be games and contests, including a home run derby throughout the weekend. Visit theclassicgtown.com for tickets and more information. The Classic, showcasing South Carolina's finest in high school baseball, March 5th through the 8th in the state's best ballpark, Mike Johnson Park in Georgetown.
Play ball!
The Sports Talk Recruiting Report is sponsored by Seawell's Catering.
All right, time to dive into the recruiting report tonight. It is always brought to you by Seawells. We'll have the menu for Seawells for this week tomorrow, another big week of the daily lunch and buffet for you from 11 till 2, so get out and enjoy. And when you need the folks who do the best job in catering to come do the best job in catering for you, or you want to go to their place and be catered there, they cater to your needs, home or away. They're undefeated on the road, and they've never lost at home. How about that record? 803-771-7385 is the number. Online at SeawellsCateringSC.com. Checked on a couple of players. Wide receiver Ivion Lewis, 6'2", 180, out of Richmond. South Carolina coach Shane Beamer, receivers coach Mike Furry. Went in to see him late January. He's now down for an official visit the first weekend of May. He'll be one of the first ones in to visit South Carolina once those official visits start. He says with the Gamecocks, it's just been about building a relationship ever since they offered him. And, of course, they offered him way back in October of 2022. Torian Gray offered him way back then. And he's getting to know Furry better and better. He really likes him and thinks, he, as he puts it, he keeps it real. And he's looking for a coach that can develop him as a player and as a person, so that'll be important to him. He was offered by Kentucky today, and he also has offers from Ohio State, Oklahoma, Purdue, Rutgers, Tennessee, Vandy, USF, Virginia, Virginia Tech, and James Madison. Right now he calls South Carolina and Florida State as his top two. He also plans to take an official visit to Florida State. He's also got one scheduled with Virginia Tech. Last season, 41 catches, 1,046 yards, and 12 touchdowns. Clemson going after a big lineman in Bullard, Texas, Sidney Rouleau, who's actually from Montreal. He's 6'4", 260, but he goes to the Brook Hill School in Bullard, Texas. And Clemson making a run at him to this point. Been down to see him, been down to visit with him. They have got to make up some ground because they are not in his top 12 that he released in late January. Ohio State, Florida State, SMU, Georgia, Oklahoma, Southern Cal, Tennessee, Miami, Oregon, Alabama, Florida, and Michigan. But Clemson continues to recruit him, with Matt Luke getting down there to see him and talking with him, along with assistant offensive line coach Carson Kramer. So the Tigers have offered 6 offensive tackles And, of course, they just brought in a group of tackles, a group of offensive linemen in their 2026 class. So they will continue to recruit Ralu, who's coming in for the junior day on March the 7th. So they'll have another chance there to try to get inside his group of favorites. South Carolina and Clemson did not make the cut for offensive lineman Maxwell Hiller. He announced a short list over the weekend that he's down to Alabama, Tennessee, Florida, and Ohio State. Both had recruited him very strongly, but did not make the cut. South Carolina target quarterback Jerry Meyer III decommitted from TCU late last week. He's a native of Texas, was recruited by TCU by current South Carolina OC and QB coach Kendall Briles. So that should help the Gamecocks as they try to get him in for a visit. South Carolina target quarterback Ty Knutson, 6'3", 202 of Spring Branch, Texas, committed to Texas. He had the Gamecocks and Oklahoma State also on his short list. South Carolina offered offensive lineman Will Endicott, 6'4", 286 out of Prosper, Texas. He also has offers from Kansas State, Kansas, SMU, UTSA, and North Texas. South Carolina offered offensive lineman Owen Riley, 6'4", 290, Bel Air, Maryland. Penn State, Virginia Tech, Maryland, Oregon, Rutgers, UConn, Coastal Carolina, West Virginia, and others have offered him. South Carolina target, 2028. This is in basketball. 6'6", Mason Collins of Delaware was offered by Villanova after visiting for a game last week. Back to football, quarterback Chase Johnson of Valdosta, Georgia, who was re-offered by South Carolina in January after Briles came on board, has set an official visit to Texas A&M for May 29th. He's been committed to the Aggies, however, since August. And South Carolina target linebacker Brandon Lockley of Philadelphia has scheduled an official visit with Alabama for May 29th. He's got Duke the following weekend and Nebraska the weekend after that. That will take care of recruiting on this Monday night. Be sure to check it out regularly on our website, SportsTalkSC.com. And on X, use the search word ST Recruiting to take you to our recruiting stuff. All right, quick message here. This is from Russell. I wonder what the plumber has planned on Valentine's Day for the girlfriend. Plumber, what you got planned for the girlfriend on Valentine's Day?
Which day is Valentine's Day? What?
Saturday.
Yeah, I think I'm busy that day.
I bet you are, big boy. I bet you are. All right, Janet probably can't wait for Valentine's Day. Or is her name Hillary? That will do it. That will do it. That's all we got. See you tomorrow.